How long does it actually take to buy property in Mexico? A lot of Americans assume it works fast, just like a normal closing back home. But in Mexico, the timeline can be very different. Some deals move smoothly, others take much longer than buyers expect. And if you do not understand that before you start, the delay itself can become stressful. So in this video, I'll explain what usually affects the timeline, what delays are normal, and what Americans should realistically expect before buying property in Mexico. If you're an American thinking about buying property in Mexico, one of the most important things to understand is that the process is not always slow because something is wrong. Sometimes the transaction is completely legitimate, but it still takes longer than many US buyers expect. That is why expectations matter so much. If you expect a US-style closing timeline, you may feel nervous, even when the deal is progressing normally. In the United States, buyers are often used to a fairly predictable closing process. Most people have a general idea of how long the transaction should take. In Mexico, the process can still be organized and completely legal, but the timing depends on several moving parts. For example, the seller's documents may need review. The notario may need time to verify the transaction. Permits or certificates may need to be gathered. And in restricted zones, the bank trust process may also affect timing. The timeline in Mexico actually surprises many American buyers. Buying property in Mexico does not follow one universal timeline. In many cases, a property purchase in Mexico may take several weeks to a few months. Some transactions move faster, others can take longer. A smoother timeline usually happens when the seller already has all the necessary documents ready. The property title is clear. There are no legal complications, the buyer is prepared, and the professionals handling the transaction are experienced. But delays can happen when paperwork is incomplete, when the property needs additional legal verification, when permits are missing, or when the transaction structure is more complex. So the timeline is not only about speed, it is also about whether the transaction is being handled correctly. A delay does not always mean danger, but it does mean you need to understand what is causing it. Sometimes the seller is missing important paperwork. Sometimes taxes or property records need to be confirmed. Sometimes the notario is still reviewing the transaction. This is why patience alone is not enough. What matters is informed patience. And actually, this connects to another important point. If a delay is caused by a legal issue rather than normal processing, buyers need to recognize that early. In another video, I explain the biggest legal risks Americans should understand before buying property in Mexico. I'll link that video right here. So what should Americans do before starting the buying process? First, assume the purchase may take longer than expected. That mindset alone can protect you from unnecessary stress. Second, work with professionals who don't just handle paperwork, but actually walk you through every step of the transaction in plain English. Because if something isn't clearly explained, that's usually where the biggest risks are hiding. Third, don't judge the deal by how fast it's moving. Because in Mexico, slower often means it's being done properly. A fast deal is not automatically a safe deal. The safest mindset is this. Do not ask only how fast can I close. Also ask, is this being done correctly? Because in Mexico real estate, speed is only one part of the equation. Clarity, legal review, and proper verification matter even more. So how long does it take to buy property in Mexico? The honest answer is, it depends. Some deals move smoothly, others take more time. But the most important thing is not how fast it happens. It is whether the transaction is legitimate, organized, and properly reviewed. If you want to understand what can go wrong during the buying process, I'll link that video right here. That video will show you which delays are normal and which ones should worry you.